If you can again, please just post in the chat box that you can hear me okay. Sorry that we got disconnected as part of David leaving the room. Please just post in the chat that you can still all hear me and I am not talking to myself. Brilliant. So, hi Roland. Right, so sorry about that. The joys of technology as David ended the broadcast, but I do have a few other little points to talk to us about as part of my second outing of At Home with Hayley. So let me just change my camera position and then I can get underway. Right, so I'm at the top of the screen now and just coming back to where the settings. Right, so you may have also seen some messages coming through from Hayley. I'm actually logged in as Hayley, so apologies if you are seeing Hayley come through. It's actually me. So David's given his mortgage and interest rate and product update, which was absolutely fantastic. I just wanted to touch on, whilst I have the opportunity to speak to you all, about another development in the residential rental market within the UK, and that is what you may have heard called the Renters Reform Bill. So I'm just going to spend just a few moments going through the main areas of that Renters Reform Bill, as it is quite a significant change for us as residential property investors. So I will just take off the camera as we go through the bill. And as I say, it's only a summary, but the Renters Reform Bill was recently presented to Parliament a few weeks ago on the 17th of May. And hopefully you have heard what the Renters Reform Bill is, what it's all about. The main point to remember is that the aim of the bill is to bring about significant changes in the private rental sector of the UK. And the bill has actually been referred to as a once in a lifetime or once in a generation change to the private rental sector. Now, according to central government, who are obviously controlling this bill, Michael Gove, and trying to get this bill through, the reforms and the purpose of the bill is to create a safer, fairer and higher quality housing market for renters. Some of the points in the bill I would just call out, it's debatable on whether that will actually be achieved and at what cost to us as landlords. But again, that's my own personal take, and we will see how this bill works itself out. Important point to note is that the bill is currently under parliamentary consideration, and there is a set of processes and debates that it needs to go through before it actually becomes law. Something else I wanted to point out is that, as with any legislation and compliance changes, we believe that these are actually a good thing for us as professional property investors and those of us running property businesses within the UK, because we see time and time again, when compliance, when legislation changes come into play, the market flattens. And we're already starting to read of news stories and see from a statistical point of view that landlords are leaving the market in quite considerable numbers, because they may be accidental landlords, for example, or invested for a number of years, and they see things changing in the market, such as Bank of England base rate increasing, mortgage rates increasing, legislation coming out in terms of this particular bill, and they just feel that they've had enough. They've had a good run. It's time to get out of the market, maybe sell up. So we will see, and we are seeing, less competition in the market, which is really good for us, for those of us who are staying in the market and are continuing to invest. Because once again, the fundamental piece of information that we must keep in the back of our minds is there are not enough houses within the UK to cater for the demand of housing within the UK. And right at this moment in time, despite what has been going on with the cost of living crisis, mortgage rate increases, etc., the rental residential market in the UK is very, very strong at this moment in time. So that's a brief introduction. Now I just want to call out 5 or 6 main points of the Renters Reform Bill. The first point is the bill is looking to abolish the Section 21 eviction process, also referred to as no-fault evictions. So one of the key provisions of the bill is to abolish completely Section 21. Section 21 currently allows us as landlords to evict tenants from our properties without having to provide a specific reason. If this bill is successful in becoming law, landlords will only be able to make and evict tenants under reasonable circumstances. And the hope is that by getting rid of Section 21, this will provide renters with more security and stability in their homes, which obviously is quite a fair point. So this change aims to address the issue of precarious tenancies and ensure that tenants are not unfairly displaced from their homes. So looking at it from a property investor's perspective and a landlord's perspective, we really don't want to evict tenants ordinarily. Okay, the only times, certainly for myself, that we would want to evict a tenant from a property is if the tenant's in rental arrears, or if the tenant is causing antisocial behaviour within the property, damaging the property or the surrounding area. If it's a HMO, for example, if the tenant is causing issues with other tenants within the property, that would be classed as antisocial behaviour. So there are elements of the Renters Reform Bill that will actually allow us as landlords a quicker, smoother, streamlined process to evict tenants that are violating any of those clauses. And again, the finer details are still being worked on. So it's not all bad news with the abolition of the Section 21 notice. There's certain elements of it that I believe will actually benefit us as landlords. The second point of the bill is the introduction of periodic tenancies. So the proposal is that there's going to be a shift towards a single system of periodic tenancies. So just to add a little bit more detail to that, currently, most rental agreements, when you issue a residential tenancy in the UK to a tenant, that agreement operates under an assured short hold tenancy, an AST, which typically has a fixed term, for example, a 6-month period, and then can be renewed or transitioned at the end of that term into a periodic tenancy. So the Renters Reform Bill suggests moving towards a system where all rental properties operate under a periodic tenancy by default, with tenancies rolling on a monthly basis without a specified end date. The hope is that this change will simplify tenancy structures and provide more flexibility for both landlords and tenants. And again, I can kind of see the thinking behind that. However, there may be some repercussions for the lending market, who typically like to have fixed tenancies in place, as it gives the lenders further security when they come to lend. So again, I think that's a particular point that will need to be worked on a little bit further, with various different parties feeding into those discussions before it is made law. The third point is around rental increases, and the proposal is to extend the notice period for rent increases. And this is particularly to address concerns about where the market is currently in the cost of living crisis. So the bill is proposing to limit the amount of rent increases that can be done under a particular tenancy. Again, limit the rent increases and provide tenants with a greater notice period. So the proposal is that rent increases will be limited to only once per year. So we can only increase our rents once per year, and landlords will be required to provide a minimum 2 months notice if they are intending to increase the rent to our tenants. The aim of this particular point is to strike a balance between protecting tenants from excessive rent hikes and allowing landlords to make the necessary adjustments. Again, I think that this is particularly a fair point, particularly for tenants. It gives them more stability from a financial planning point of view. Us as landlords, we just need to make sure that our rents are at the market rate, for example, and we also need to ensure that our letting agents are getting our documentation in place. Moving on, the fourth point is around enhanced rights for tenants that want pets in the properties. So the bill, Renters Reform Bill, recognises the importance of pets in people's lives and seeks to strengthen tenants' rights to keep pets. So under the proposed legislation, tenants will have the right to request permission to keep pets in their rented homes. Currently, landlords have the ability to refuse issuing of a tenancy agreement to a tenant if they are looking to bring pets into the property. The bill, Renters Reform Bill, is looking to remove that from landlords' ability to prevent tenants with pets. It's also looking to promote greater flexibility and inclusion for pet-owning tenants, while considering the legitimate concerns of landlords regarding potential damages. So again, this is still something that's being worked on. The fifth point is a new ombudsman. So the bill is looking to introduce a concept of a new ombudsman to oversee the private rental sector. Landlords, regardless of whether we use a letting agent or not, may be required to join this new government-approved ombudsman scheme, which will provide a platform for tenants to make complaints against us as landlords, ensuring independent investigations into alleged breaches of standards, for example. The Ombudsman itself will obviously have the power to take enforcement action against issues such as issuing apologies, providing information, taking remedial action, and awarding compensation to tenants, with the maximum compensation amount capped at £25,000. So again, this is more in the favour of the tenants. If we are a letting agent or using a letting agent within the UK, obviously letting agents need to be part of an ombudsman currently in any case in order to carry on their business. TPO, for example, the Property Ombudsman, or the PRS, the Property Redress Scheme. So the bill is now looking to introduce a further one specifically for landlords. And that leads nicely into the final point that I want to talk about, that the bill is proposing the creation of a digital property portal. This is set to establish and to facilitate compliance with legal requirements for landlords. So this is going to be an online platform that will serve as a centralized resource for landlords to understand and demonstrate compliance and their obligations. It will also support good landlords in showcasing their adherence to regulatory standards and attract prospective tenants. The aim and the hope of the portal is that it will contribute to raising overall standards within the private rental sector and enable local councils to take necessary enforcement action against non-compliant landlords. And again, this is coming back to what I said at the beginning of this part about the Renters Reform Bill. We need, as I always say, we need to be in that solution-orientated mindset. This proposal of a digital online portal where we have to, as landlords, register our properties, I would imagine would scare a large number of landlords within the UK who don't want to be part of this portal, for example, for whatever reason that way may be. And what we are seeing, and what we will see, I'm sure, as the bill does come into practice, is landlords just deciding, I've had enough, I want to get out, I've had a good run. And that is a further opportunity for us, those of us that are staying in the market and are actively investing in the market, because the demand for rental accommodation is still at a peak and has been for some time, and it's not going to go away. That peak, in my opinion, is not going to drop, because there's still not enough houses. We're not building enough houses in the UK to cope with the demand, so the supply is lower. So by current landlords leaving the private rental sector, again, it's a great opportunity, in my opinion, for us staying in the market. So just as a conclusion, before I wrap things up, the Renters Reform Bill presents a comprehensive set of reforms designed to improve the private rental sector. We're going to abolish potentially Section 21, introduce periodic tenancies, extend the notice period of rent increases, enhancing tenant rights to keep pets, establishing a new ombudsman, and creating an online digital portal. All of this aims to create a fairer and more secure housing market for renters. The changes obviously are reflecting the government's commitments in its policy to improve living standards and ensure the private rental sector operates in a manner that benefits both landlords and tenants, although it could be argued that it's more in the favour of tenants. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, time will tell. And the bill is obviously progressing through Parliament. Further amendments and refinements may occur. It is our plan, potentially within At Home with Hayley, but also within our YFE alumni, to keep you updated with the status of the Renters Reform Bill and how that progresses when it comes into force, etc. But as hopefully I've covered in this summary, there's 6 or so main points, and it's all really geared towards lifting the standards of the private rental sector, which I'm sure that everyone will agree it is good for the sector. Okay, some of the points may need and will need finer details, I'm sure, and we'll keep you all up to date on how they progress. So let me just bring my camera back on. we have lost some people as a result of David leaving, but never mind. This will be on our YouTube channel. If you do want to catch up as we progress. I now just want to come on to the YFE events. So we have our Property Success Convention again in June. We had a great session at the end of May last weekend. It's a one-day event now. It's completely free. If you want to join that event, then scan the QR code or visit our website and go to the Property Success Convention page, which is shown on screen now. If you go to our homepage as well, there is an image right on the front of the homepage which will enable you to get to the PSC page to join and register. As I say, it's completely free. It would be great to see you at the end of June on that Saturday, 24th of June, I believe it is. It'd be great to see you there for that event. Lots of content, maybe a few jokes from Hayley myself. No doubt Hayley telling me what to do and how to do it. Point during the PSC as well, which is all good fun. No At Home with Hayley would be complete without me plugging her. If you want to watch her on Property TV and on our YouTube channel, then please do. Always lots of great content from her about market updates, etc., what's going on. Again, just listen to her in your leisure. All of the episodes are on our YouTube channel, which again you can access from the Your Freedom Empire website. Any of you that want to book in a call with any of the mentors at Your Freedom Empire, then as a thank you for joining the At Home with Hayley series, you have the option to scan that QR code on screen now or visit the website displayed on screen. You can book in a 30-minute consultation call to discuss how Your Freedom Empire may help you drive your business and property business forward. Particularly the way the market is at this moment in time, please do take advantage of those calls. They are completely free, and it will be, a good opportunity to speak to one of the mentors to see how your business can be aided in order to drive it forward. So we are just under the hour, so I've kept to the time frame much better than Hayley ever does. She always runs over. It's because she has so much good things to say. So I would like to say from myself and David, obviously, who joined us earlier, thank you very much for joining us on the 62nd episode of At Home with Hayley. This recording will be put on our YouTube channel a bit later on today, so you can watch it over the weekend and into next week in case you missed anything. We may need our videographer to do some stitching if this video comes out in two parts, but hopefully not. So all that's left from me now is to say thank you very much for joining. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. Have a fabulous Friday and a great weekend, and you'll hear from us again shortly. So goodbye, everyone. Thank you very much. Roland, thank you. Almost as beautiful as Hayley. Probably. I do say that I have a face for radio rather than TV, but I am much funnier than Hayley. So thank you all. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.